Welcome to the final look, part no, 3. Part 3 already. What is the final look? Very easy. In January I did a declutter. In that declutter I decluttered palettes, and I also put some palettes in a maybe pile where I said I will do this year only one final look and then decide whether to let go or not. The previous year I did that too, and what I created was the chopping block pile, and I just tried to force myself and create several looks with these. That didn't go well. I ended up decluttering all of the palettes from that chopping block, but this year with the maybe pile I am much more confident, and in each of the videos I spin the wheel. So I put all the maybe palettes in a fortune wheel, and then before every look the wheel decides what palette I'm going to use. The first look that you will see here is made with the Glamlite Cherry Cola palette, and spoiler alert, I have some very interesting thoughts this time on how to move on with these palettes that I will declutter. So spoiler, this gets decluttered, and how I'm going to treat the rest of the decluttered palettes. But more on that later. My cat is scratching because he's very hungry, so you see now the first or the other or all the looks of the video, and I need to feed my cat. I don't know about you, but I'm honestly ready to finally work through that pile. So today we're, oh no, the Glamlite Cherry Cola. That was the only palette where I was like, please not this one today. I am against this brand because of their shady tactics, because of the way they censor their shit on social media. And I fell for the packaging of the Coca-Cola collection. We did the original, or like the other Coca-Cola palette already, I think in the first part, and I ended up decluttering this. And while I like the color story of this, I think this is going to be decluttered too. But I don't want to bias myself because overall, I think I like this one a bit more than the Coca-Cola one, although I wanted to like the Coca-Cola more than the Coke Cherry. Let's just start with the look. My main problem with this is just that these shades are too pigmented. I know this sounds weird, but they're just too much. I'm starting with the shade down here, and I very softly apply this increase and transition area. I now tap into the dark purple, and I start to blend this on the outer part of the lid and in the crease and bring it all the way through. I tap into the matte red now. I kind of remember that this was a quite good one, and I darken the inner crease part. I tap now into the darkest shimmer here and apply this on the outer third. And then I go into that shimmer in the second row, and I apply this on the rest of my lid. And where they both meet, I just tap on top, and then I flip the brush, apply a little bit more from that dark shimmer here. And if needed, I also tap back into the pan. Watery eyes, I don't know what's going on, probably allergies, but that means no liner. So directly into the dark purple, and I apply this quite heavy here on the lower lash line. Going into the red, and that one I smudge here on the lower lash line too. And I need a little bit of lightening there. I went a little bit overboard. See, that is what I mean with the too much pigment. I tap into the lightest purple here and just smoosh this slightly underneath for a better blend. And I also apply a little bit on the inner part, and I fucked up this eye once again, just like I did in the video with the Beauty Below palette, because my eye is watering so bad that here on the inner corner everything rubs off. I am so annoyed right now. This look is a disaster, but surprisingly not because of the palette, because of the watering. Let's finish it up with the inner corner highlight. I take that super light shade here and apply it. And here we have the finished look. On the lips I'm wearing the Natasha Denona My Dream lip pencil together with the Fenty Gloss Bomb Sticks in Blaze Donut. I like the look. I really do. Despite the watery thing here, doesn't matter. That is not the fault of the palette. I like this look. But, and here's the big thing. First of all, I'm just not feeling Glamlite anymore. My other palettes that I have from Glamlite are the Chucky and the first Scream palette that they did. I will not get rid of them because I just love the color story of these, and the quality is a tad bit different to these. The Chucky one is also very intense, but it is in general a intense, dark, smoky goth palette in my opinion. But with colorful shadows like this, when you just go too overboard, it can patch out, it can flake out, it just can blend into everything and just be a messy mess. And I don't like that so much. The thing is that this palette, as well as the normal Coca-Cola palette, they have several shades in them that I want to keep, but I don't want to keep the palette. So honestly, what I'm thinking, since nobody wants to buy these palettes, maybe I just depart the shades that I like from my decluttered palettes. I know that some people suggested this already, that I, for example, in the last video I had the Pat McGrath, the bronze ecstasy one, where I said I'm keeping it only for one shade. Yes, I did, but I liked the rest of the palette too. It was just, you know, it's Pat McGrath, but I can't get rid of it. But for these, I don't feel pain when I think of departing this, and especially with this palette, honestly, the shades that I like the most are this Mad Red here and the shade that I used for the inner corner. The rest are so-so, they're fine, and honestly I think I can create this look with any other palette that has purple in them and a little bit of a shifty shade in there, so no problem. So what I'm thinking is that from all the palettes that I decluttered, even the ones that I decluttered already in January, they are still sitting here because no one wants to buy them, and I totally understand that. So since there are shades still in these palettes that I like, I might depart them. So for now, long story short, before we move to the second part or the second look, this palette gets decluttered and I need to make up my mind if I want to depart some of the shades that I actually like, and that could be one of the reasons why I think of keeping the palette. As said, this dark Mad Red here is beautiful. I mean, look at this. This is such a nice bloody color. I don't want to get rid of this. I might depart this and the other shimmer shade, and maybe we live a happy life with one like Frankenstein palette. I don't know. I have to make up my mind about this. Maybe I already did, and I can update you by the end of the video. So for now, enough of the rambling. Let's head over to the next maybe palette. All right, look number 2, wheel number 2 with, what palette are we going to get? The Pat McGrath Bordeaux Bliss Quint. The thing is, we have, I think, the same theming going on here as with the Bronze Ecstasy. There are shades in here that I absolutely adore, like this here. This is Ruby Noir. I love this. Then Mauve, no, not Mauve Mystique, the one next to it, Naked Sunset, is absolutely stunning. Cosmic Garnet is also stunning, but the overall palette is quite boring. So let's just try to create a look, and I already have a bit of an idea what I want to do. I'm starting with Mauve Mystique. This is, by the way, a sequin shade. So in this Quint, technically there is no real matte, but you can definitely use it as matte. That's why I take this and apply it in my crease, bring it to the inner corner, and then outwards. I'm not bringing it down to the lash line. I'm like, I let it like feather out here. This is, by the way, the type of sequin where you definitely see the glitter. Although I do want to say that when I look at this right now, I don't see, but when I look up close, it looks like a semi-wet sheen. And I know this sounds super weird, but it is actually quite pretty. And don't worry that this is a bit patchy. This is just the beginning, because I now go into Ruby Noir. Such a beautiful shade. It's also a sequin, but I would say this is like more sequin to the glitter side, because I think the glitter in here is much more intense than, for example, in the Mystic Mauve one. And I take the shade, I just very softly tapped in, And now I just apply this and kind of rub it here on the outer lid part, bring it up and blend it into the crease. I now take a smaller brush and go back into Ruby Noir, and I just build it up a bit here on the outer part, because this is a shade that tends to blend away very easy the fluffier your brush is, but the denser your brush is, the more like opaqueness you get and the more these shimmers appear. I now go back into Mauve Mystique, that way around, and I just apply it on top of the initial blend, and then I bring it outwards and smooth out any edges. I now tap into Cosmic Garnet and I apply this in the center of my lid. I'm leaving the inner part bare, and I'm very careful here on the outer part because I don't want to cover the noir shade. I want to create a gradient. I then go into Naked Sunset and I use this on the rest of my lid. Now I take the brush that I used the mauve shade with, but no additional product. Just go through the crease. And I'm also using the smaller brush that I used the noir shade with, and I just tap it a little bit back on. For liner, I'm using ColourPop Get Lucid. It's, I think, not really matching, but it should pick up some of the more reddish shimmers here. Yeah, it does the job. Back into Ruby Noir. I smudge this on the outer part of this look. And then I go into Mauve Mystique, that way around. And smudge this on the rest here of my lower lash line and also underneath the noir shade. For the inner corner highlight, I take this shade here. This is Platinum Rosewater, and tap it on. And here we have the finished look with the Bordeaux Bliss Quint from Pat McGrath. On the lips, I'm wearing the Lisa Eldridge Sculpt and Shade Pencil in the shade 3C. And I combine it with the YSL Love Shine Candy Glow lipstick in the shade 6B. Is there anything to criticize about this eye look? Fuck no, because it's kind of vampy, it is sultry, it gives romantic gothic vibes, and I don't know why I was in doubt with this Quint. I mean, let's be honest, this is not an eye look that I cannot create with other palettes that I have, with other shades in my collection, but it's not about that. It is just sometimes also about the lazy factor, and I think I have to make a photo of this look, print it out and hang it somewhere to just remind me of how awesome and how beautiful this Quint is. So I'm very, very happy that I gave this the final look, because I fucking adore this eye look. So, you guessed it, this palette is definitely going back to the collection. So let's now do look number 3. Right, last look, last wheel, and I do have a little bit of a wish what I want to see now. So, no, it's the Odens Eye Little Ghost palette. This is one of the Halloween palettes that Odens Eye did, I think, in 2023 at this point, with Angelica Ninquist. There were 2 palettes. The other one I have in my collection still, but the Little Ghost, while it is very, very pretty, there is just something in there that is throwing me off. So I know that blue and orange are, what is the correct name? You know, they're like on the opposite side of the color wheel, so they will go very well together, but I don't want to have always very contrasty looks, and if I'm not going with a contrasty look, I have to go with a warm blue or purple one. Well, now I'm talking myself into, no. Let's just create a look here. I'm starting with Skeleton. That is, by the way, not white at all. This is the lightest mix of purple and blue that I've ever seen. It's definitely a ghosty color. I now go into Haunted, and I start to blend this here on my inner crease part and bring it to the center and work it into that, what was the name? The skeleton shade. Now I go into licorice here and use this on the outer crease and bring it to the lashes in a V shape. I go again into licorice, but with a much smaller brush, and I apply this in the same area. I just want to layer that shade to give it more depth here. But it is not really good in layering. And funny enough, as soon as I start to blend it, it starts to patch out. Can you see this here? It's all super patchy. Making either the biggest mistake for the look or the most genius move, but I go into Screech down here and I apply this in the center of that look. I then go into Ominous, and that is for the outer part of this look. And where they both meet, I just mix them by tapping here on top of it. And if you cover too much, you can always go back into one shade and then keep on mixing it in. And then I go into Magical, which just instantly, it either hard panned or it just smooths down so weird. But I use that shade for the inner part of that look. Okay, this is a somewhat translucent based pink with some golden sheens. Really not a fan of this shade, so let me go into Screech again and just apply a little bit more here. So I don't want to cover up that that shade that I just applied. I just want to intensify the center a bit more. And I picked up that Haunted shade again with a smaller brush this time. And I just go through the inner crease to intensify that a bit and bring it out. For the liner, I will be doing a white liner. This is ColourPop Exit. And just line the waterline with it. I then take Licorice again and press this here on the lower waterline, but just on the outer half. Then I go into Little Ghost here. And I start to blend that out in the center, and then I bring it outward. So there is something super strange happening, and I will insert here a photo of my right and my left eye. It is like here on that outer part where I now started to blend Little Ghost on, the shade is falling off. So I went over this now a couple times, but I, for the sake of my life, cannot fill this in, and my eyes aren't watering today, so what the fuck. But it is this specific shade. I was able now, I wanted to go in with Licorice again and just intensify then the darkness there, and I was able to literally wipe away the Little Ghost shade. I never before had this happen, and like when we just stay in Odens eye, I never had this happen with an Odens eye palette before. So I'm a bit annoyed, but let's finish this look just as quick as can. I go now into Candy Corn and apply this here on the inner part and wipe it a little bit on top of the purples. The whole look is absolutely horrific. For my inner corner highlight, I go into Boo, which is, by the way, one of the best shades, or if not, the best shade in the whole palette, and apply this here as my inner corner highlight. And here we have the finished look. Now on the lips, I'm wearing MAC lip liner in half red, together with one of the Glamlite lipsticks from the Nightmare on Elm Street collection. This is that grayish nude one. I think the end result of this look is definitely not bad, but it is definitely not a look where I'm like, oh my god, I would love to do this one time again. The palette just in general, I think it's just not my jive. I love the blues, I love the purples, but first of all, I am fucking annoyed by the fact that this happens. I don't know if you can see, but the palette, it doesn't close. They are magnetic, aren't they? They should have a closing mechanism. Or is this the very first time that I really pay attention to this? I have to check with the other Odens Eye ones. But I think overall this palette has its pros, and I see why the palette is how the palette is. I just have to be honest with myself that I am not happy with this overall. Once again, in here are specific shades that I actually would like to keep, like the skeleton shade. I know, super boring, but it is a type of white, bluey, purple skeleton color that is quite unique. I don't have anything in that specific tone. The shade Boo is one of the most amazing, glitchy, ultraviolet blue shimmery shades that I own, and I think Zombie next to it was also one of the better ones. The other mattes in here, I'm honest with you, I'm not a fan of them. They're not special enough for me to keep them, especially since last year and in the beginning here of 2025, these dead colors kind of came to life here. So I'm looking at Somber Garden from Shall We Makeup, Longing from Blend Bunny, and the Fog Garden palette from Cheery Up Makeup. They have these, for example, these types here of tones in them, and it's nothing special anymore. So honestly, this palette gets decluttered too, but I will not throw it away because I told you after the first look that I want to make up my mind about the whole depotting thing, and I decided that I will do this. So I have a bunch of palettes that I decluttered, and they're still sitting here. They got like on Instagram I tried to sell them, on eBay I tried to sell them, but right now nobody really wants to have them. And to be honest, in each of these palettes is at least one or sometimes even two or three shades of that palette that I like, but I don't like them enough to keep the whole palette. So since I would have thrown them out anyway, I will depot them and put them in a like Franken palette. So I have to get myself an empty magnetic palette and some magnetic sticker pinny things that you can buy off of Amazon, and then I will depot them, and I will probably film that and make this a more long chatty overhead style video. And I think this was the first time that in this final look series, out of the 3 palettes that I tested, only 1 got back into the collection and 2 got decluttered. So we have 6 palettes left for now, so 2 more parts are coming. I'm curious as always, would you have decided the other ways? Let me know down below. Other than that, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out any of the other upcoming videos, and I see you soon.